Hey there, Forever Alone weeb. You might have clicked on this video because of the thumbnail, but lucky for you, you're in for a bit more than just that. My name is Unnecessary Commentary, and I'm an unprofessional, non-profit, business plus ultra YouTube channel that talks about anime. And maybe some other stuff, depending on the day of the week really. I understand that with the school year for many of you, starting again or work might be sapping too much of your time away to be able to watch every show, every season, and determine what's good and what's bad, what interests you and what's a waste of time. I'm here to cut out the middleman by providing reviews and first impressions from seasonal shows to much more older or antiquated shows, so you don't have to miss out on the very best in anime while still being able to get a nice healthy 3 hours of sleep. My comprehensive reviews are all spoiler free and detail where you can watch the show, how many episodes you have to watch, how many seasons, the publisher and studio details, in order to give you a technical look at whether a show is worth your time or not. Aside from the technical and logical stuff, I also like to give my own review of the show, which takes up the bulk of the review. I analyze everything from characters, to music, to animation, to story. I like to put myself in the audience's position by recommending if you should watch this show, if you like a certain genre, or if you should avoid this show because depending on your tastes, it might leave a sour impression. After debriefing all the technical and review garbage that no one really cares about, I give my final verdict, which is graded on a scale of 5 based on how good I think a show actually is. It's like the IGN thing, but even fucking better. My scale is a bit warped or unfamiliar to the general public, so I'm gonna break it down to you right now. Oh, let's break it! Shows that are rated 1 out of 5 I believe to be very poor, with huge inconsistencies or flaws within storytelling and plot, the two most important characteristics in any form of visual media. These types of shows or movies are very rare to find and won't come up too often in my reviews. Despite the fact that these shows are at the bottom of the barrel, I don't think ones have nothing going for them and are complete rubbish. I thought Princess and the Pilot was a captivating and unique idea and had a great world with fantastic atmosphere. I thought it was gonna be a lot like this, but upon finishing it, it was, 2 out of 5s compose the bulk of anime in my opinion. These are the shows that I think are good and very worthwhile to watch, but I think have some very visible or apparent flaws and fallacies that detract from the show's value. I would place a show like Darling in the Franxx, Promised Neverland, and Kakegurui in this section. They're interesting and captivating to watch, but subconsciously they have some serious flaws and challenges that make the shows difficult to watch or completely demolish whatever they had going for it. Three out of 5s are what I believe to be shows that are roughly parallel in plot quality to 2 out of 5s, however they feature less issues with their storytelling or ideas that shows in 2 out of 5s tend to face. Some notable examples I would place in this category would be the first 2 Attack on Titan seasons, Yuri on Ice. Wait. Now hold on. I can see. I can see you might be clicking away from this video or getting ready to clap me in the comments section for ranking this over this, but let me clarify. A 3 out of 5 is a show that I believe is on par with a 2 out of 5 in terms of quality, such as animation, music, or plot, but is better than a 2 out of 5 in terms of how that story is presented and how it is meant to be interpreted by the audience. A 3 out of 5 typically ranks higher than a 2 out of 5 because its plot is less complex and therefore easier to make sense of and digest, or it is presented in a much more simple and logical fashion. Now, I'm not saying that a show cannot be complex in order to be good, but if you make a show complex with many layers, you need to make sure that the audience can actually receive those layers orderly instead of shoving just a bunch of crap at the audience and assuming that they will understand or like it. Complexity requires time, and a lot of these shows in 2 out of 5 attempt to cram complexity into a short period of time, which just simply doesn't work as well as the shows in the next category, the 4s. 4 out of 5s I believe are good shows that I would actively recommend. Not because they have cool characters, animation, music, or story necessarily, but rather how each of these elements is represented in a way that the viewer can gain something from watching the show. These shows take interesting ideas or plots that may belong in 2s or 3s and manipulates them to become much more symbolic and idealistic of a much more interpretive and hidden theme behind the anime, leaving it to the viewer to determine how to accept the message or point the media is trying to convey. I would put something like Land of the Lustrous, Violet Evergarden, or Kill la Kill here. These shows have their own flair that conveys meaning to the audience. You take a look at Kill la Kill, for example. To someone new to anime or perhaps unfamiliar with Hiroyuki Imaishi, they might see some of the animation in this show as perhaps lazy or uninspired, but if you have watched the show before, the animation fits perfectly with the wacky and bizarre atmosphere of the show. And believe me when I say that, ask anybody who has watched this show before, and they will say it is it's pretty weird. It's small things like that that catapult shows from 3s to 4s. The attention to detail and how these details correlates to the show as a whole and improve its quality or value. 4s are not perfect, however. Despite having great plot or storytelling and ideas, they do suffer in much more critical and less noticeable areas. One of my biggest issues with Violet Evergarden was the characters, not only Violet herself, but the people she associated with. And while I'm not going to get into detail about nitpicking every character in the show or every problem that it has, it's these much more smaller issues in storytelling and plot that are destructive to 4s, rather than the larger and more obvious flaws that 2s and 3s face. 4s have to deal with the smaller and less obvious problems that are embedded within the structure of the show, which makes them much more difficult to spot, and that's typically, in my opinion, what drives people to give these shows reviews that are a bit more inflated than what, in my opinion, they probably are. 5s are the cream of the crop. These shows contain little to no issues in them, and they elevate their level of theme and or storytelling to the absolute next level. What sets these shows apart from the rest are what they are able to accomplish. Fullmetal Alchemist had some of the best storytelling I have ever seen in a piece of media. Period. This show managed to juggle a plot coupled with brilliant storytelling, recognizable and iconic characters, as well as build upon its already complex world. The passion and attention given to this show is extremely noticeable, and once you finish watching it, you realize how much this show blows everything else out of the water. On the other hand, a show like Devilman Crybaby prides itself on the idea it's trying to convey to the audience. Not many shows have this much emotional baggage that comes with it. It's a dark and brooding tale with so many symbols and imagery in it, designed to spark a sense of emotional hysteria when watching the show. Towards the end, the show nags at the viewer and fills them with a new perspective at looking at humanity. Of either we nuke humanity to ground zero, or we do the Earth a favor and just de-exist ourselves. Any kind of show that makes me want to make humans extinct is a pretty good show. Storytelling wise, at least. Don't take that the wrong way, you know, because that'd be pretty epic. That's how well this show emotionally connects with the viewer. It's on an entirely different level compared to most other types of shows. The 5s I can't necessarily promise everyone will like. After all, it is just my opinion. However, I do think you should give these shows a chance because I believe they have some of the best watching experiences in all of anime. But don't feel the need to burden yourself by watching Brainfuck the Anime just because I gave it a 5. After all, my reviews are only supposed to act as guides, not strict law. Which finally brings me to the +5 category. These shows are just as good as 5s, however, these are my personal favorites, and I'm fairly confident that if you've watched any of these shows, some of these would also be on your top 10 or top 15 favorite animes as well. Or if you haven't watched these shows, I guarantee you will like at least one of them. These shows really aren't better than 5s in terms of plot or animation, music, and that type of stuff, but I do believe these are truly must-watch shows, and I don't think you could go wrong with watching them. Okay. Now that I've covered what I will be grading you on, I'll go a bit more in-depth about my channel. I don't typically use manga when rating anime because typically the content in the manga will be radically different from what is in the anime. So there are a few exceptions, but 95% of the time I will rate anime independently from the manga because I understand there's some people out there who just want to watch the anime. They might not have the resources or time to read the manga as well. Additionally, my name is Unnecessary Commentary because I don't just talk about anime, that's just my main job topic thing. I will talk about pretty much anything: sports, video games, politics, art, Florida man, news, travel, basically whatever I feel like talking about. I won't upload these videos as often as I want to make anime reviews my priority, but occasionally if something catches my eye, I am making a video on it. Now, in terms of an upload schedule, I don't really have one, you know. This is kind of like a hobby to me. But I will make sure to be uploading every once in a while, just to make sure that you can stay up to date with shows in the anime community that are making waves of influence. And finally, last but certainly not least, I will address the elephant in the room. But, unnecessary commentary. How can I trust you? Well, lucky for you, I already have my first review on YouTube already. So, you can go watch it and you yourself can determine if I'm a cool kid or not. And, please say I'm a cool kid. I'm running out of money. I only have like 3 cans of Chef Boyardee ravioli left. But yeah, that's about it. If you like this video or channel, be sure to give me all your money.
Everybody ring dong dong, my words, jang jang ah.